Hello, welcome to this video. We're going over mating combinations here. The first one would be smothered mates. So this is the first example. Would you like to pause the video right now and then have a think about it before I explain how this puzzle works? Okay, so with this puzzle, the idea is that because the king is trapped in its own pawns, so what white would want to do is to play b5. After b5, black only has one move, and that's to take, because black was in check. So after takes, white plays king here. The black king has nowhere to go, and these pawns have nowhere to move. So f5 or f6 is forced. They're the same thing. White takes. Black takes back. e4. f5. Now if we take, that would be stalemate, so it'll be a big mistake. So we play e5 instead. And now these are forced. We promote to a knight. After promoting to a knight, black only has one legal move. And this is smothered mate. That's check. Black's king is stuck. And it's checkmate. That's a very simple version of a smothered mate. Let's move on to the next one. So pause the video here and think about how this smothered mate will work. Also, smothered mates don't have to be with knights. Smothered mates can be with different pieces, however, they're usually with knights. So in this puzzle, the brilliant move is bishop g5 check. This is an amazing sacrifice. After takes, black's king is pretty exposed. After back, white has knight d8 check, which opens up the e6 square for white's queen. So this is also a clearing a square for a different piece. After they take, we can go check, king here, and that is checkmate. This is pretty simple again. Here, after check, if black decides to retreat, white can simply go queen check here, and that would be mate. After knight check, if rook takes, queen check, and that would be mate again. So let's go to the next one. This is the final smothered mate pattern. This one is a bit more difficult than the other ones. Take a minute to pause the video and think about it yourself. So the first realization here is that white cannot win this unless this pawn stays alive. And black is also about to queen, so we also have to try and prevent that. At the moment, it is the two pieces are currently preventing the pawn from queening. However, if white is not careful, black could queen the pawn. So first, bishop here would be checkmate if the king wasn't going to take this pawn. So the first move would be king b4, defending this pawn, threatening checkmate. There's one move to stop checkmate, which also attacks this and this. Now here, white can play the amazing move, bishop b1 check. Knight takes is forced, and knight e4. And black cannot stop checkmate, because this bishop has nowhere to move, this pawn can't move, and this king can't move either. So the knight is forced to move, and that's a checkmate. The king is boxed in by its own pieces. Now let's go on to the next one. This is a different theme now. This is back rank and deflection. So take a minute to pause the video and work out what winning move for black is off the board. So here, black can play queen takes d3, which not only threatens rook c1 or queen c1 checkmate, it also threatens the rook as well as taking a rook. If white returns and takes the queen, rook c1 is rook f1 is checkmate. If white decides to come back, thinking that this square is defended, we can just play queen check. Takes, mate. White doesn't really have any options here, so white can just practically resign. This one should be white to move. So black just played rook here, thinking that he might win the rook because this rook is defended, and once the queen moves, free rook. However, pause the video here and find why rook here was actually a blunder. Well, here the first thing to notice is that the rook is only defended by these two, and they're getting attacked by these two. So you can try and think of, how do I remove the defenders of that rook? Well, I can play queen takes here, which removes the defender of the queen. So if white takes here, that's one defender gone, but that's still attacking that, that's attacking that. However, here, white is also going to take this queen. If white takes the queen, this rook has no defense left. And if the rook ever moves off, that would be checkmate. So here, after takes, black doesn't really have any more options. The best they can do is to bring the queen back to c8. And here, white's just playing up a piece. Takes, and we can just take here. If check king here, they can't take this because that's defended, and that's threatening mate again. So they have to bring this queen back, and white can just simply play queen, bishop here. If they pinned us, we could just play queen here, and white just play up a queen. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is the third deflection and back rank. This is a very famous game that lots of people should know. So pause the video here and try and think about what white should do. Well, the first thing to realize is white has this doubled rooks, which attacks this rook up here. The two defenders are these. So if we're able to remove one of those defenders, rook takes e8 would be checkmate after they trade them off. So the easiest way to try and remove one of the defenders is to play queen g4. If they takes, and that's checkmate. So because of that, black only has one option. Let's play queen b5, keeping this defended. Now white, because if any of these two pieces stop defending the rook, taking away his mate, so white can play queen c4. If rook takes, that would be mate. If queen takes, that would be mate again. So black has to bring the queen back. And here, if you haven't worked this out yet, try and think what white should do here again. The move is queen c7. Queen c7 is an absolutely crushing move. They can't take here, they can't take here, because this was drop, and white is automatically take this queen, as well as the rook. If black is not careful. However, in this situation, the queen can't take the rook yet because they can take back with the rook. So here, black would play queen b5, bringing the queen away again, and now we can play a4. If black takes, we play rook e4, because if takes, there's this, but black doesn't really have any other options, so takes is forced, and then rook e4. The queen is under attack. That's under attack. That might be under attack if black ever takes this rook, and every piece is just hanging at this point. Black doesn't really have any options, so black just brings the queen back to b5, trying to keep everything defended, but queen takes here and that just wins. This queen has nowhere to go. Can't come here, can't come here, can't come here. Here, here, here. And if the queen ever moves away, we take here. So black at this point decided to resign. Now on to the next tactic. This is bishop plus queen mate. So pause the video here and try and think what white should do. In this position, white's idea is to realize that because the king is in the center and is not castled, it is very easy to attack, especially white's king is castled and this file is completely open. This one as well. So queen check. This square is blocked, and these two are covered by the queen. So black only has one move, queen d8. Here, because black's pieces are practically open down, rook e1 check. This king has nowhere to go. That's covered by that, and this bishop covers that square. So the only two moves here are knight here and bishop here. If knight here, we just take, and that's the same thing. So essentially after check, bishop blocks. Here, pause it again if you haven't worked it out yet, and try and work out the best move for white. In this position, the best move is rook takes e7. After rook takes e7, Black doesn't really have any options. If he moves this across, we take the queen for free, and that's mate. Oh, that's not mate yet. That's mate. So takes here is practically forced. Queen check, and that's a classic queen and defender mate. Let's move on to the next one. This is the famous evergreen game. If you haven't heard of it, you should really take a look at it. So white has sacrificed 2 knights in order to get into this position. Black just played queen takes f3. The threat is to take here with mate. So pause the video here and try and work out what white should do here. So there is an amazing combination of sacrifices here, with starting off with rook takes c7. If the king moves to one of the sides, that just doesn't make any sense. So takes back. For instance, if the king moves over here, take here, and we can win this queen. And that piece is also hanging, and there also might be further tricks down the line. Anyways, back to here. Knight takes c7 makes sense. Now if you still haven't worked it out, pause the video here and try and find the best move for white. It's queen takes d7 check. We're giving up the queen and opening up the king completely. At this point, white is down 2 pieces and in exchange. So black decides that, oh well, let's just take the queen. Check. If the king comes here, that's checkmate. And if the king comes back here, we can play bishop check. If the king comes to d8, bishop takes c7 is checkmate. If the king comes to f8, bishop takes c7 is checkmate again. So black's king, the lesson here is that black's king, just because black is up several pieces, black's king is extremely exposed. And if black's king is very exposed, there are lots of ways white could possibly attack the king. So it's always important to keep your king safe. Let's move on to the next one. Here is another queen sacrifice and bishop checkmate. So here, find the best move for white. The best move for white here is queen f6. The way we see this is, so white has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces attacking this king, possibly even 5. And if 6, if this rook comes across, well, black only has maybe 2 defenders. So because white has such an overwhelming advantage in defenders, white can give up this queen. Takes. This king has nowhere to move other than king here. And here, white can play rook f5, bringing the rook into attack. That is the threat of checkmate right now. Black doesn't really have any options to try and stop it, other than, well, they could try and give this queen up and then play on, or knight g7, stopping rook h5 mate. However, white here can still play rook h5, because after takes, g6 is checkmate. This defends this, that defends that. Also stops there, and that covers those squares, and this knight blocks the own king in. This is an amazing combination with 2 bishops and pawns to checkmate the black king. So this is the end of this tactics video, and yeah, goodbye.